Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 50. 50. It's crazy. But today we're going to talk about, man, I know I've said this before, but keeping relationships that are valuable to you intact is important. Um, yeah, and realizing that what you did was wrong or realizing that you did, that you hurt the other person. It's extremely important that you recognize that, man. A lot of people they would rather sit there and be like, well, and they would only bring up the fact of the stuff that you did, and everything like that too. And that's honestly that's a form of gaslighting. Gaslighting. Now I'm not gonna look up the actual definition. I'm just gonna give you the terminology that I know. It's like pretty much it was like where uh you question or somebody questions the why you move the way you move or this and that, and they don't want to take responsibility for what they've done to you has caused you to be a certain way. That's not the actual definition for gaslighting, but that's the definition I'm rolling with. Because I've seen that shit play out firsthand. I've seen it in relationships. I've seen it in marriages. I've seen it in friendships. I've had it happen to me. Um, yeah, man. When you're dealing with people who gaslight you, that's they're not worth having around. I don't care who they are. Because like I told my homegirls, disrespect comes in many different forms, and I'm a firm believer in that, man. I'm a firm believer. It's like, um, and I'm a firm believer that disrespect, man, is like it can come in the form of joke. Any form. It doesn't matter. One of my partners, he sent me this video. It's about Omari Warwick, the guy who used to be in Power. It's this clip where he's talking. He's obviously talking to some girl, in a movie in a show, and basically he says like, "I'm a good dude. I don't deserve to be treated like that, like this and yada yada yada." And my boy said he's a that's you lover boy. I was like, yeah, 100%. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna deny it and not own it. I was like, that's 100% me, because I am a good dude. I don't deserve to be treated the way with disrespect or anything like that. It's like, but at the same time, I'm never gonna sit there and say I'm a good dude because if you gotta say it, you really ain't. I'm gonna let my actions speak for me. And yeah, that's hot. And yeah, man. And this episode 50, that's what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about the fact that sometimes, man, it's like you can make mistakes. And depending on what type of mistake it is, whether it's you know, there's a few things you can't walk back from, but you can't walk back from infidelity. You can't walk back from you know, abuse or anything like that. Like that type of shit you can't walk back. In my situation with the person I was not communicating with, yeah, uh, we we had all, you know, quick backstory. Uh, oh, she's my best friend, right? And for a minute there was feelings, you know, between the two of us. Me more strongly than her, because that's how I am. I'm just gonna feel my emotions, like whatever. And there was a few times, man, like we were supposed to go out and um where we live at, there is a place called Foster Botanical Gardens, and I was like, yo, we should go check it out. Like, I like they got picnics tables and whatnot. Like we can bring some shit. We can just eat whatever. And I remember like she was telling me like, yo, it sounds like a date. And my black ass is like, yeah, cause it is. And in the beginning of the week, Shorty was juiced for it. Shorty's like, okay, cool, let's go. And like Friday rolls around because it was a I think it was a Sunday a Sunday thing. Yeah, it was Sunday, and so Friday rolls around. I ain't hear nothing from her all week, and Saturday comes up, and I'm like, yo, and like we talking back and forth, this and that, and Sunday morning rolls around. It's about 7. I text her, be like, hey, I'm gonna come swoop you up about 10:30, and Shorty was like, hey, well, like I'm not feeling good, this and that. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever, like get better. And then like a few hours later, I was like, I get a text message from her, saying that like she's going to the gym or like then she's going to a barbecue. And I kind of already knew what was up. I was like, like, you just didn't want to go with me. That's what it was. And I wasn't I wasn't mad. I wasn't upset about it or anything. I was just like, I was literally like, whatever, it doesn't matter to me because it didn't. And then she goes on to say that well, what did she say? She's like, well, I should have thought about it more, before I said yes. I was like, yeah, you should have. And then she's like, well, I didn't want to lead you on this and this and that. I was like, but you kind of did. Could have just said no, you know. And I said, it's like, if you think that's a date, then it's like if you ask me, like, oh, well, is this a date? Of course I'm gonna say yeah. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to take that shit from the friendship to the next level. And what I didn't realize is like, yo, she couldn't give me what I wanted. Or not that she couldn't, or not that she couldn't give me what she wanted, but she wouldn't give me what I wanted. Um, it didn't fuck me up or anything like that. I was just like, okay, cool, whatever, you know. And there was other mix-ups too and everything, man. But it's like the one thing I do regret. She had sent me a belated birthday text on my birthday, or actually the day after my birthday, and like I said before, she's my best friend, and um, I didn't know how to respond to that. I really didn't. So I didn't respond, and for like 3 weeks, I didn't talk to her. You know, I didn't. I didn't talk to her via social media. I didn't talk to her via text message, and then my bodybuilding show came up, and then I seen her, and we didn't talk. And it wasn't until like I had, reached out and tried to figure out what was going on, and more or less, more of the story is that I had blocked her from my social media, and so she was feeling a certain way about that. And for a guy who preaches communication and comprehension is key in anything, I didn't do that with her, and I should have. Um, she's my best friend, hands down. Um, she calls, I'm dropping whatever I got going on, and vice versa. Like if I'm in a jam, she got me, and vice versa. And you don't find too many people like that, and like you don't find too many people who are genuinely good people. Um, and a lot of people were talking, they were talking shit about her, and I was defending her name in rooms that she wasn't in. And these were people that she considered friends, and these are people that were, that were supposedly her friends. And I'm like, nah. And right now we just going through a rough patch, man. And it's like, and my podcast, yeah, like people will let me like, yo, like why would you air out your business like that? It's like, nah, it's not airing it out. It's like I'm just telling people, it's like, don't make the same mistake I did. Don't make the same mistake of not communicating because you're hurt. Communicate anyway, but check your emotions at the door. Communicate because you don't know what the other person got going on or what they're going through. And like I said, like with her, the one person I should have communicated with, the one person I should have talk things out with, I didn't. I let my emotions get the best of me, and for whatever reason, I blocked her. You know, and when I don't know how long I had her blocked for or whatever it is, but the point is that she saw it, and the point is that she felt a certain way about it, and unbeknownst to me, while being hurt, while being in my emotions, while being in my feelings, I hurt her unintentionally because she hurt me, and it's just something that we got to work through. And believe it or not, we are. We're slowly working it through. We're slowly we're taking baby steps with this because it's like with her, man, it's like like I said in other videos, she won't admit this, but she's stubborn. Um, my girl, she's stubborn. You know, she's not gonna. You know, I remember one time we was kicking in the mall, and um, like we was talking about she told me something like, hey, like one thing you gotta do is like you gotta stop being so rigid. You gotta be more fluid in the situations. And she said something else, and I said, well, you know, to be honest with you, you piss me off too. And like I'm gonna tell you why you pissed me off. And like she literally looked at me, stone faced, and she was like, like you really want to go through with this, And like I remember she crossed her legs and she did this, and she just looked at me. She's like, okay, all right, you know, let's go. And yeah, man, with her, man, um, I didn't fall in love with her because of how she looked like, you know, or what she did for a living or whatever. I fell in love with this woman because of her soul, of her personality, or the fact that she was just like she was a good person. And but me, it's like it was never about looks. It was never about what you about what you can provide with me, because it's never that. It's all about um it's all about how you treat people for me, man. And when she met my family and when I met her family, vice versa, like it was, everybody could kind of tell that what we had was, I don't want to say a relationship, but it was deeper than the regular friendship. And yeah, man, I think losing your best friend because you don't want to communicate is stupid. Or potentially losing your best friend because you don't want to communicate is stupid. Um, and so in this episode, man, it's like, yo, if you got issues with somebody and it's over something petty, it's over something like this where like communication could solve anything. Go communicate, man. Cause I swear to God, the other person wants to communicate with you too. Um, the other person wants to communicate as bad as you want to communicate with them. And like I said, if it's over something like this where you don't, or none of you guys are talking because you're too fucking prideful, put your shit to the side, man. And just realize that your pride it can help you and hurt you. It's pride is not something that is 100% bad, 100% good all the time, because it's not. But at the end of the day, you have to find somebody who's willing to get into the boxing ring with you and fight, and not fight with you, but fight for you. Um, and with us, man, we have that two-handed circle. And that two-handed circle, dog, is like it was never broken from the outside. It was broken. It was damaged from the inside. And what I mean by that is like the two people that held that two-handed circle, we unintentionally hurt each other, you know, by simply not communicating with each other. And And I was told by a former coworker of mine, yeah, she's like, the one thing I love about you is the fact that you're always willing to talk things out. And I try, I try to communicate with people. I don't, those who know my story from my podcast, former episodes. I didn't really grow up in a stable home. I didn't really see what a healthy relationship really was until I got much older. Until I moved out of my house, and I saw things for what they were, and I saw how a healthy relationship, works. Um, it took me a long time to unlearn a lot of things, man. I would overthink things when I was younger. I wouldn't, you know, I would just see things from my point of view. Um, and a lot of it was just youth, but a lot of it also stemmed from the fact of my childhood, and like the fact that a lot of things I saw growing up, to me they were normal because that's all I saw. Um, and to me it was everyday life. My parents never really had. I never really seen them have an actual conversation. Like when I say like, hey, like, oh, how's your day type of shit, or what you want to do this weekend or whatever. Like, it's like I've never seen that. Like for like you know, up until from grade school to high school, I've never seen them have I've never seen them have a conversation. Um, at least a civil one. And yeah, man. And I remember my dad telling me something when he was alive, and and he said something like, "Oh well, yeah, this and this," and I was like, "No, it's like and I was in high school, and I said, "Nah, it's like the fact that you won't take responsibility for how she reacted to the situation. That's 100% on you. That's not something that you can just brush off. That's not something that you can just be, well, it's not my fault or whatever it is. In reality, it is. One of my homegirls told me something. She's like, and I jokingly said like, "Oh, like I'm not responsible for for how people take what I say." And she's like, "Yeah, it's true. That's very true. But you are responsible for how you deliver it. Your tone, your inflection, your emotion behind it. It's like you're responsible for all that." And I think a lot of people don't want to recognize that or don't want to deal with that, man. And the sooner you communicate, man, the better off you'll be. Uh, it doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter what the situation is in a lot of aspects. But if you communicate, man, and if you show the other person, yo, I'm genuinely sorry for what happened. I'm genuinely sorry for how I treated you, and whatever this is. But let's work this out because a lot of these times, man, like I said, with me and my homegirl, I love that girl to death, no doubt. There's nothing I won't do for that girl, straight up. And when with that, man, it's like when you find somebody like that, who's willing to put up with everything that you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, the mood swings, all that shit, bro, and they still here, go communicate, man. Go save that relationship. Anyway, y'all, this is 19 minutes of life that you won't ever get back. Hope you keeping it the 4 P's, private player, positive pushing. See y'all next week. Love y'all. Ghost.